welcome to Newcastle Fans TV. My name is Will Dixon and welcome to the final video for the group games, the first round of group games anyway, for our World Cup journey. We're with Group H with Colombia, Japan, Senegal and Poland. Very entertaining day of fixtures it was, and this is a really important group because if England are to qualify, they will be playing one of these four teams. So make sure you keep your eye on this one. And of all the groups in the World Cup, it probably is the closest one to a group of death. Very hard to predict, and that came up today with two probably very surprising victories. We had Japan beating Colombia 2-1 and Senegal beating Poland by the same scoreline. We'll start with Colombia. Definitely the favourites probably going into the group. Thinking of the players that they got like Falcao, they got James Rodriguez, Juan Cuadrado, a couple of Premier League names in there such as Davinson Sanchez, David Ospina, Carlos Sanchez, if you remember him, played for Aston Villa a few years back. And he had a very pivotal role in this game as only 3 minutes in, the ball, a bit of a defensive mix-up at the back for Colombia. Ball gets fired in and Carlos Sanchez prevents it from going in the goal by using his hand. Penalty and sent off. And within 4 minutes, Colombia were down to 10 men. Shinji Kagawa stepped up and put away the penalty, putting Japan 1-0 up. But even so, for the rest of the first half, Colombia were by far and away the better team, despite being down to 10 men. Created a lot of opportunities, especially down the right wing with Juan Cuadrado until he came off midway through the first half. And you can say they were unlucky, probably not to score. But then deeper into the half, free kick taken by Quintero goes underneath the wall and kind of sort of P-rolls towards the goal. It's very, very clever, but didn't really hit the shot very, very hard, and the Japan goalkeeper still couldn't quite keep it out. So very intuitive? No, that's not the right word, but anyway, you know what I mean. From Quintero, and it drew it to 1-1, and Colombia kind of kept the pressure on for the first half. People are thinking, like, despite down to 10 men, they can keep going and keep putting the pressure on Japan. Japan, there's a whole story about their manager. I think he's only had 2 games in charge of this team. People kind of said they were underprepared, and probably for this group, a lot of people had them down to finish bottom. But it came out the second half, and the tide completely turned. Japan were really piling the pressure onto Colombia, and they were the ones creating all the chances. Really good chances spurned by the likes of Inui and Akasha. But then eventually, corner gets whipped in, brilliant corner, and Akasha climbs up highest and heads it in and puts Japan 2-1 up. And they hold out for the rest of the game for an important victory for them. Massive victory for Japan. Bit of a shock. James Rodriguez did get on the game. He didn't start. There's all this thing about his calf injury. But he came on and really didn't do anything. And Colombia looked really, really flat in that second half. Looked void of creativity. Didn't really threaten too much on Japan's goal. And it ended with a shock victory for Japan. Moving on to the next game, Poland versus Senegal. And not really the most entertaining game I've ever watched, despite the fact it was by the same scoreline. First half, really, really drab. Really drab. I was sitting there thinking, I've got absolutely nothing to talk about. But eventually, ball comes out. Idrissa Gana Gueye of Everton hits it, takes a deflection, and goes past Chesney, putting Senegal 1-0 up. And African nations haven't really done that well in the World Cup so far. Senegal are now the only team to have won a game. Tunisia were the first one to score last night in the fixture against England. So it was a massive game for the whole of Africa, I'm sure, getting behind Senegal. But they kept going, and they actually did look the better team. Poland are only ranked about they're ranked about 8th in the world. A lot of expectations going into that game. A lot of great players there, such as Robert Lewandowski, just to name the most outstanding one. But into the second half, again, Poland really didn't threaten that much. They had a couple of chances, but Senegal were really keeping the pressure up. And then eventually, a horrible back press from Cuadrado, the guy that played for West Brom last season, trying to get it back to the goalkeeper. Niang rushes onto it. Puts a toe past Chesney, and then taps it into an empty net, putting Senegal 2-0 up. Poland try and throw everyone forward. Deeper into the game, Grzycki, who, if you remember, plays for Hull City, whipped in a free kick, and Kukawiak rises up and fantastic header to make it 2-1, and that is how it finished. So very disappointing from Poland. I expected a lot more from them. There were a lot of players that expected I expected more of. Robert Lewandowski, hardly in the game at all. Genuinely hardly in the game. I hardly saw him. For Senegal, Gana was good. Koulibaly was brilliant. Sadio Mane causing problems. Niang as well. And they look really, really good. So, surprise day of fixtures in Group H. And it's going to be really interesting to see how that group develops over the next two. And then eventually, hopefully, if we get through, which having beat Tunisia, big step for us, is more than likely. So thank you for watching Newcastle Fans TV. I've been Will Dixon. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.